can say that over the phone, Batman, but if I had you here, I'd pound you to a pulp.
Start pounding, Joker.
That's right, we're taking a look at Adam West's Batman from McFarlane Toys, my first McFarlane figure. Now, what I mean by my first McFarlane figure, technically it's not my first McFarlane figure, but it is my first McFarlane DC figure because, well, I'm not a huge DC fan, but I do like Batman to some certain extent and some DC characters, but I grew up with the Adam West Batman. My dad gave me a lot of DVDs from the TV show, and it was something I really did enjoy growing up, and of course I do also like the Dark Knight and all that. But I just want to take a look at the packaging right here. Got the McFarlane Toys logo right there. Got the very, very classic Batman Classic TV series logo right there. Brings back just so many memories. And, of course, you got your kind of basic McFarlane Toys kind of window packaging right here. DC Multiverse, Batman on the side. But there is actually something special with this. You can actually enter sweepstakes for a replica limited edition cowl that is based off of the actual show itself. I already did enter into it, so hopefully I get the cowl because I would actually kind of like that. And I've never won anything before. I got the Batman Classic TV series right there. McFarlane Toys at the bottom. Nothing much there at the actual bottom. DC Multiverse yet again. You got a QR code here to enter the giveaway as well. And on the back here, you get a very, very nice look at Adam West Batman. But there are some differences in the color, which I will go over with the actual figure, that I wish they did a little bit more close to the actual, Batman from the show. But that's not to say that this figure is bad, because this figure is really, really good. I'm not going to sit here and glaze. I know a lot of people have their own issues with McFarlane Toys figures. But specifically, I did want to get this one because I'm not too big on DC and all that, and McFarlane's figures are, I think, pretty good in certain areas. But anyway, let's take a look at the actual figure itself. And here he is. Right off the bat, this figure is great, but we're going to take a look at his details and just, take a look at him. I actually did get some time to mess with him. McFarlane Toys, please sponsor me. I will review any figure you guys send me, if you do. A little too small of a YouTuber for that, unfortunately. But this is going to be a completely honest review of their product, because this is my first time actually, having one of their DC figures in hand. I know a lot of people have problems with a lot of their DC figures, mainly with some of the quality control and some of the decisions, but I like Todd McFarlane. Sorry, I'm screwing up my voice here. This is very raw, uncut videos that I do, so please don't mind me. But I'm going to give an honest review of this, since it is my first DC multiverse figure. And I really do love the work that Todd McFarlane does put into a lot of his stuff. And I grew up with Spawn and all that, and so I want to give this DC figure a try, because for one, he just looks really nice. But these boots look really nice, these gloves look really nice. I think the color for the blue is not as metallic as it is on the box. Actually, not metallic at all. I feel like they maybe could have done some metallic with him. But he has a really, really nice looking sculpt. From what I know, I'm pretty sure this is a completely brand new sculpt. I don't know if anything here is reused. Anybody who collects McFarlane Toys, just let me know. It does have the squishy diaper. But I mean, yeah, he has a very, very nice looking sculpt. I feel like this is perfect for Adam West's Batman. But there actually is two Batman figures I really did want to get from McFarlane Toys. This is definitely one of them. The other one was the actual, Dark Knight trilogy, Platinum Edition with the wired cape, but could not find it. But I really do like the logo detailing right there, and the spikes here for the gloves. Everything's sculpted super, super nice with these wrinkles. And one thing that McFarlane does that I really do like is the actual joints are like sculpted, and they just fit so seamless with the body. Same thing with the ankles here. I really do appreciate that. And I know the diaper piece here, a lot of people aren't too big of a fan of it. I think it's good in some aspects, like with this figure, it just makes it look pretty seamless, but it does kind of hinder a little bit of articulation. And this cape is really nice too. I'll go over the cape sometime soon here, but very, very smooth body. Love the bat logo. It just looks really, really good. Now in store, there actually was a couple of these guys, like quite a bit, where like the bat logo and the eyes were kind of messed up a little bit, but this was the best one out of all the ones there at Walmart that I did find. And I'm just glad that I got like at least the most perfect copy that I possibly can for this guy, because I really do enjoy this figure, and I've messed with him just a little bit here. But I mean, yeah, this cape is also just super, super nice, and it's a pretty decently big cape. I feel like maybe a little extra material would have been nice, because I can't, fully splay them out as good as possible. But it's made of a very, very nice, shiny little material. It's very thick. I think it drapes really nice, too, as well. Maybe could have used some pleating on the capes. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically when the cape has folds in it, so that way it folds a certain way. That would have definitely been nice, but yeah, I mean, this figure is just, it's absolutely fantastic. And I mean, just like, listen to this material. It's like a little bit scratchy, but I mean, it feels, pretty nice and hefty, and it weighs down pretty well. And just going over this figure just a little bit more, I want to take a look at the actual face sculpt here, because I think this is one of McFarlane's better head sculpts, at least from what I've seen. This thing looks really, really good and actually captures and portrays Adam West's Batman pretty well. Another thing, too, is this cape lays over the shoulders very nicely, but I do want to take another, just a little closer look at this face sculpt. I really do love the paint work that went into this head sculpt. It looks perfect. And the sculpt itself looks pretty much exactly how I remember Adam West from the actual show. I love how, like, the sculpt work and the line work for those bat eyebrows and parts of the cowl that you can tell look sewn in. The paintwork is just fantastic on this figure, and it just looks really great. McFarlane is definitely good when it comes to quite a lot of aspects, I would say, compared to a Marvel Legends, even though Marvel Legends is mainly what I collect. But, yeah, and even the sculpt work for this belt, too, and the paintwork. Batman's utility belt for the Adam West version actually opened from the bottom, which was always a little bit weird to me, and I only noticed that now. Even though it was a little bit always weird to me, I just, it's just something I just kind of re-noticed with this figure, and it's honestly great. I think it's about time we actually take a look at this dude's articulation. Now, articulation for this guy is going to be kind of limited in some areas, but as far as the head goes, he can look up pretty much about that far. You can get him to probably look a little bit more, but I don't want to stress out the joint. He looks down only a little bit, not too much. He does have some pretty decent side to side on the head sculpt there, and the head can go a full 360. Now, as far as the arms go, he does have this kind of interesting, like, butterfly joint situation going on, with this piece on the inside here being very, very, very free-floating. But you can get quite a decent amount of range with it, so it is something that does work. Now, there is going to be a little bit of gappage, at least up on the shoulder here, but he does have pretty good range of movement with it, so it is a system that definitely does work. So you can go forward pretty much about that far, backward a pretty decent amount. It is very, very loose around there, though. The arm can go up, I'd say, about that far, if you can push it that far there. He does have an actual bicep swivel, and that's what I mean. The arm does like to go everywhere around, but he does have bicep swivel. Arm goes a full 360. He does have double jointed pinned elbows. And as far as the wrists, they move at two sections. They move right here, They spin all the way around. And at the base here, he also has a hinge at the wrist, and I will show that there is other articulation with that hinge there too as well. Now he does have a diaphragm joint. You can't spin it around, but he crunches forward pretty much about that far. But he crunches back a pretty significant amount, which is kind of interesting. I kind of wish it was maybe the other way around. But beggars cannot be choosers. And as far as forward, really not so much. Does have some side to side with it. And you can obviously, use that too as kind of a waist joint to some extent. He doesn't have like a proper waist joint. Kind of wish he did a little bit. But he doesn't, which is okay. And then as far as the legs here, they go forward about that far before hitting the diaper. That's my main kind of gripe with this guy, is just the diaper articulation. Kind of hinders it a little bit, but going back doesn't hinder too much at all. I don't think he has a thigh swivel. If he does, it's very slight. Very, very slight in there. Does have double jointed pinned knees, though, which do bend pretty decently. And as for the feet, they go up about that far, back pretty much that far, and there is some swivel to it. He does have a actual pivot that goes pretty much side to side, which is very nice. And of course, he also does have some very deep toe articulation. So this guy is pretty decently articulated, and he's going to be fun to mess with. Now I want to talk about the cape just a little bit more. I'm actually in love with this cape, but that doesn't mean I don't have my fair share of problems with it. I do think maybe it could have benefited from some pleating, of course, just to give it a little bit more of a flow to it, and a more conformity when just kind of draped over his shoulders. I know that's just a minor gripe, and that's probably asking for a lot, and I'm sure I could probably just do it myself, but it would have been nice to get it with it. It is a very nice long cape. I'm not sure if Adam West had this long of a cape, but it's nice that we still get it, just so that way we can have enough material to really pose this cape around and to make it, kind of bend to your will, if you will, because he does actually have wires in it. So it is a pretty decently splayed out cape, and I do actually think that it fits very nicely. And I actually do love the way that it's actually integrated into the figure. It's glued in, I believe, right here around the neck, and it's a very tight, secure, fitting. So it's not gonna lose its kind of form around the actual cowl, and it's actually gonna stay in place. Now the only problem is I do actually think that these wires may be a little bit too thick, but it doesn't mean that it's really that much of an issue. I think the only real issue is that he could have maybe used a little bit more material in the cape to actually splay it out a bit more, because you can't fully splay it out in the way that you would think. But he does work really, really nice with a wired cape. I'm so glad that he has a wired cape, because I was not a big fan of McFarlane's just plastic capes. That's one of the reasons why I got this figure, is because of the wired cape. If he didn't have a wired cape, I probably would have skipped out on it. But the wired cape just makes it look so much better. And the fact that it has this metallic color, it just makes it kind of pop. And I don't know, I just really love the look of this guy. And he just looks really, really, really nice. But of course, with this wire and everything like that, you can make it flow very nice with the cowl, and it just sits on his shoulders just really nicely. But to kind of show you, splaying it out here, you can't splay it out fully, you see, because there's not too much material to really give with, so it kind of does this. Now, it would have been nice if we had a little bit extra material just to kind of splay it a little bit better, but this is as far as I can really get with it. But even then, while I'm doing this, it kind of feels like it's just putting a lot of tension on the material, and I feel like I might rip it. But splaying it out like this and having it flowing back at the back of him, it just looks really, really nice. So you could maybe do like a jumping pose with the cape flowing in the back, which is just a really good bonus with having a wired cape. And I think all Batman figures should have a wired cape to come with them. Now let's take a look at his accessories. So this Batman does come with a pretty extensive array of hands. Right out of the box, you get these kind of holding hands, / you could probably use them as punching hands too as well. He doesn't come with any straight up punching hands, which is kind of interesting, but these are a pretty good alternative because he can use accessories and punch. He also does come with these two kind of, you would think as, peace sign hands, but they're actually to recreate one scene from the actual show, which is the dancing scene. And of course he does come with these two kind of gesture hands. One of them's kind of like a detective kind of pointy finger hand, and one of them just a straight up pointing finger. And of course he does also come with this with a hole in it, and I believe this is his kind of a grappling kind of accessory. Would have been nice if we got a string along with it to attach to it. But it's fine that we don't have one, because I guess it just leaves it up to whether you want to attach one or not, because you could also just use it as like a batarang if you did want to. He also does come with this piece here, which I'm not sure what this is. If anybody in the comment section could tell me what this is, because it's been a long time since I've watched the Adam West Batman show, and I don't remember what this is. I think it might be some type of remote control, maybe for the Batmobile. Not sure. This might be teasing a Batmobile. I don't know if he's made one yet, but this might be teasing one. But it's painted up, pretty decently nice. It does have this kind of like texture on the back. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it almost looks like it's 3D printed. I know it isn't, but it just kind of has that texture on it like it does. But it's a pretty nice looking little accessory. And of course, integration with the accessories. You will just use these kind of open hands here, and you can just, put them in his hands. So you can have him hold this kind of remote control thing. I'm thinking it's for the Batmobile, because I have no idea what else it could be for. But of course, you do have that. And then you do have the kind of batarang piece. Now, you can squeeze it into the hands, but I kind of don't want to put too much stress on it. So I'm just kind of, hold it in there for right now. But you can actually get it in the hand more if you get it around those grooves. I just don't want to put too much stress on this guy. But yeah, so that's pretty much how he does hold his accessories, and he holds them, pretty well. These are actually some pretty nice accessories. You usually don't get a lot of accessories with these DC figures. But with that being said, I think it's about time that we do a pose test on this guy. So I hope you guys did enjoy that little pose test with this guy. Now I did forget to mention two things. He does actually have two more accessories. He actually does come included with a stand. It's a pretty run-of-the-mill kind of McFarlane DC stand. It has a DC logo on it. And just one peg on top of the stand there. And you will need this stand to a certain extent, because this guy, at least with mine, he likes to fall over just a little bit. But just getting the stand in there, it just pegs into the bottom of the foot, and you're pretty much all good to go. It's a pretty decent, little stand, and, it's quite enjoyable to actually have included with a stand. But, of course, there is another thing he does come with, and that is, of course, the card. Now, the card isn't a normal character card that you usually get with these McFarlane figures. It's pretty much just the, enter for a chance to win type of card. So you get this, card right here, and of course, on the back, there will be a scratch off where you scratch it off. I already scratched mine off, and I've already used the code and everything, because boy oh boy do I actually want to get that cowl. Very slim chance that I will, but if I do, I will definitely review it. But it is a very, very nice little addition. Now, onto the comparison for this guy. Here he is next to a little Lego Batman. I don't have much Batman stuff, but I do have, like, only a little bit. Here he is next to a Burger King toy Batman. Yeah, I don't got much Batman stuff. I'm not the hugest Batman fan, but I got some stuff. But of course, if you want to see how he looks next to some regular 6-inch type figures, here he is next to my SH Figure Arts Tobey Maguire Spidey. So that's pretty much how he scales with 6-inch figures, which, you know, I just wish that McFarlane did do a 6-inch scale. I just feel like the 7-inch, while it's kind of cool and you can maybe get a little extra detail, it's just mainly people collect 6-inch. But there he is next to the Marvel Legends Tobey. To see how they look next to each other, a more true to a form 6-inch figure. And he looks a little bit too big. But now comparing him with some actual 7-inch figures, here he is next to the only other McFarlane figure that I do own, which is the Mortal Kombat Spawn. And these guys do fit pretty well together, scale-wise. You know, go figure, since they are both, you know, in that 7-inch scale. But they do look pretty cool together. And this Spawn figure, I do intend to do a video on him, but I do want to get some custom stuff for him first before I go into all of that. So that way I can do like a full-on video about him. And then to compare some NECA figures and whatnot, here he is next to the NECA Ultimate Ghostface. They don't look too bad together. Yeah, this Ghostface is kind of seen a little bit better days. The wires are poking out of the hood. I intend to do videos on all these figures that I am, you know, just kind of showing here. And here, of course, is the newer Ghostface Inferno, which looks a lot better than the Ultimate Ghostface. Although this one had problems, and I will get to him eventually in a figure review. Unfortunately, this one broke quite a bit, and I had to do a lot of fixing with him. But anyway, next to the other NECA figures I have, here he is next to the NECA Ezio from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. He looks pretty good. I mean, you know, the 7-inch scale isn't exactly my favorite scale. And here he is next to the NECA Shredder, which I really do enjoy this Shredder. But unfortunately, NECA nowadays has a lot of problems, apparently. Because this Shredder actually has a broken piece, which sucks. So I'm going to have to get a replacement or figure out some way to fix that figure. But with scale and basically the rest of the review out of the way, let's take a look at the, you know, final thoughts. So, final thoughts for this figure. While I'm not the biggest Batman fan, nor do I really like DC all too much, I did grow up with the TV series Adam West Batman, and I think this is a perfect representation of that Batman from that TV series. Things I like about this figure, number one being the cape. I really do like the cape. I really do think maybe we could use a little extra cape fabric just to pull off some more cape, you know, poses, with the cape being really spread open. But other than that, it's perfect. I love it. The paint job, I think, is pretty great. Although there was some in the store that I think was a little bit off-putting with the paint, but as far as I'm concerned, the one I have is perfect. And I think the array of accessories is really great. He comes with quite a lot. Would have been nice to have some just normal straight-up fists, too, as well. But you can technically use the kind of the gripping hands as fists, so I guess it's not too big of a deal. And as far as the cape goes, love the color. I just wish maybe the cape could have been, like, pleated, maybe. Just because it just feels a little crinkly in certain areas. But all in all, it looks really great. And as far as everything else, you know, a lot of the stuff is just the usual stuff people aren't too huge a fan of, which is the 7-inch scale. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think it's fine. Like, I really do wish it would pair up nicely with some of the Marvel Legends figures I have, but that's, you know, alright by me. I think some of the colors might be a little bit off from the actual costume. This is more of a straight-up blue rather than the actual costume being, like, metallic with the blue parts and all that. But other than that, it's a really great figure, and I definitely recommend it to anybody. I'm not a huge fan of the diaper articulation that McFarlane likes to go for. I know it makes the figure look seamless, and I do enjoy that, and I do like how seamless the figure does look, but it kind of hinders the articulation with the legs just a little bit. There were some stress marks on the hands when plugging them on and stuff, which might be an issue to some, but it's not too big of a deal as long as everything works with the figure. I think he looks really, really great. It'd be cool to get maybe a Robin from the TV show too as well. Maybe some of those other characters. I'm not sure if he has any plans to make them. But all in all, this was a really fun and enjoyable figure. And I thoroughly enjoyed, messing around with it and having it. But anyway, that's pretty much about it for this review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Maybe when I do another McFarlane figure. Maybe in the future.